We're going to have a conversation.
Because this is just one other thing I didn't write.
Let's see, you want to sit down or do you want to stand?
I understand.
Okay. So how's it going? We had an interesting chat about this on the phone when a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about this event. This isn't just something that's happening to the village, right? It's happening to the whole city.
Yes. And I was the first one to mention this, by the way.
Tell us.
But because in my second and perhaps last book, Social Studies, which I published in 1981, there is a piece about what was happening to New York in 1981. Okay, which was, and you didn't have to be the prophet that I was in 1981. You just had to pay attention. Okay, it's very hard for New Yorkers to pay attention. It is, I agree, that's hard to pay attention because basically we are constantly in a rage. Okay, and it's very distracting to be enraged all the time. I know that. Okay, there are better writers, more productive people, but there's no one angrier. So yes, it's happening all over, and I notice many people here mention when they came to New York. You know, I got here in 1976 when there was still the things you mentioned that were here in 1976. I was against. Okay, because I got here in 1968 when I was 18, and I don't care about NYU. I didn't go to college. I don't teach at colleges. I didn't finish high school. Okay. I don't care. I've always noticed people were saying, of course we love NYU. I don't love NYU. I didn't hate it before. I just never thought about it. Okay? It's not of interest to me. Okay? And it really should be stopped from being called NYU because it has nothing to do with New York. It is suburban to the core. Those buildings they built on the south side of Washington Square Park are giant pieces of suburban junk. They have no place in any city, even cities we hate. Even Atlanta doesn't deserve these. Okay, we have a mayor we don't deserve. Okay, we have a city council we don't deserve, and now we have a neighborhood we don't deserve. Now, I say we because I'm trying to be polite, but I mean me. Okay? I mean, I said actually to Michael Bloomberg, I never thought I'd have a chance to vote against you 3 times. I don't think this is going to work. I just came because I'm so rare that I could be in a room with people who agree with me, so I came. But the truth is this, no one went in the street when he overturned term limits. No one. Right. No one ever says, the first thing everyone in this city and this country should do is privatize the private sector. There's no such thing as a private-public partnership. It doesn't exist.
Bloomberg.
I don't even recognize the sound. So I don't even know.
Somebody brought an ambulance here today.
He overturned term limits. Did that not bother you? Okay? He owes his mayoralty to September 11th. There were people who profited from September 11th, and he was one of them. He would never have been the mayor. Okay? Freddie Ferrer would have been the mayor. That's who would have been the mayor. On September 11th, there was an election supposed to happen. Okay? I, not often accused of being naive, all day waited till I thought it was safe to go outside to vote. I was as shocked by them canceling the election as I was by the attack on the World Trade Center. Okay? So the terrorists don't win because you don't go shopping or you don't go to the Broadway show. They win when you cancel elections. Okay? They win when you don't try people in courts. Okay? The reason we're not going to have these trials here is because Bloomberg didn't want them because the real estate interests don't want them. Okay? Because it's really not good for real estate prices if you're trying a terrorist across the street. Okay? I'd rather live next door to a terrorist, by the way, than to Michael Bloomberg. All right? So no, it's not just the village, but we care more about the village because we live here. Okay? But I have to tell you something. Uptown on 57th Street, they are building a building that not finished is casting a shadow on Central Park. Not finished. You can still see through it, and already there's a shadow on the park. Okay? I was having a meeting across the street at something called Carnegie Towers. Okay? Which I was in one of my lawyer's offices, one of my many. My lawyer, a person like me, needs lawyers. I was in my lawyer's office. He was complaining that it blocked his view. I said, you're kidding, right? I said, your office is in this big piece of junk on top of Carnegie Hall. You shouldn't have this view. This isn't about your view. This is about casting shadow on the park. This is the building where they sold an apartment for $150 million. Because there's really no such thing, of course, as an apartment worth $150 million. And that's not an apartment building. That is a washing machine. Okay? That is to launder this filthy money that Bloomberg lures into this city. Here's what's disappeared along with the village that we all miss. Words. Money grubbing. We never hear that anymore. Okay. Dirty money. We never hear. There's no such thing as dirty. Let me tell you something. There's no such thing as clean money. There's no such thing as clean money. No one earns $1 billion. You steal $1 billion. Okay? We are not going to win against these people. We are not going to win against these people. They already won. They already won. You know, they already won. It's as simple as that. I'm just here because it's better to be angry with a lot of people that agree with you than angry at home. It's also cheaper for me to be here than to be at home. Okay? I live on East 4th Street. Okay? If I turn right and walk down Lafayette Street, it's not that bad. Because the students, if they are students in fact and not just young tourists, because students are tourists, by the way. I'd like to point something out. These college students are tourists. They are not citizens of New York. They have no, I don't know what the word is, connection really to New York. It's an amusement park for them. Okay? Now, I have nothing against New York being an amusement park for people who are young. I remember being young. It was an amusement park for me. Okay? But I paid for it. My parents didn't. Okay? The worst thing about being around these people, about these students, is overhearing their conversation. For that alone, I walk around my neighborhood in a constant rage, thinking that I'd like to say to them, no, you're not. No, that's not what's going to happen to you. No, that's not going to be your future. No, it's not possible. It's not happening to you. NYU should move out of New York. A campus, just the word, a campus is a suburban entity. Yes. It has no place in the city, in any city. You know, if we lived uptown, we'd be yelling at Columbia, okay? They're doing something very similar there. We don't care that much because we don't live there. It's as simple as that, okay? The problem is that we're like the last people in the village who care about this, okay? And it's not because we can afford to live here. No one can afford to live here, all right? Whenever people say, I can't really afford to live in New York. No one can afford to live in New York. You just stay here, and as long as you're not in jail, you're living in New York. You have no idea how you paid all this rent. If you add up all your rent since 1968, you realize that you could be like a prince from Dubai. You know, how did you pay this? You don't know. But the entire time I lived here, I lived inside. It's an amazing feat. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how you do it. Neither do you. It's better not to look too closely at this. There's no reason for them to be here. There's no reason for them to get bigger. There's no reason for people to put up with the kind of photographs we see in the newspapers, like we saw last week. I don't know, am I the only person that found it unbelievably offensive to see a billionaire and a millionaire, Bloomberg and Amanda Burton, pacing off to see how tiny a room can someone else live in? There is a reason there are laws against apartments that are too small. There's a reason for it. There is a reason for it, okay? There are laws against him. He has to change the laws to make these apartments this small. He's used to changing laws. That's his profession, okay? But he has to change the laws to make naturally, there are many people in New York who live in spaces this small, but they're illegal. It's important that it's illegal to live in a place that small. It's important because laws show the values of the country, of the city. So we say we have a value. Our value is that people shouldn't live in a shoebox. It's not good for human beings. We know you're going to go against this law, but we're going to have the law to show that we believe you shouldn't do that. But when you have a mayor who says, you know what? we just looked at the census and we see that there's all these people in New York. It turns out, this is news to him. Everything's news to him, by the way. Okay? It turns out that, I don't know, 50% or 60% of the people who live in New York are single or live in 1 or 2 person households. So they don't really need these gigantic 350 square feet apartments. They could live in 245 square feet. Michael Bloomberg lives in a 2-person household in 11 houses. I'm offended. Aren't you offended? When he became the mayor, I said, aren't you offended that the mayor is so rich that he doesn't live in a place actually called Gracie Mansion because it's too small? And everyone said, no one cares about that. And I said, I care about it. And if you cared about it then, he wouldn't be your mayor now.
Right.
Okay? These are his friends who build these things. That's his crowd. That's not your crowd. When St. Vincent's Hospital closed, I said, where's the mayor? Where's that health-conscious mayor? That mayor who doesn't let friends smoke a cigarette in a restaurant. Where is that mayor? Where's that mayor? Not a sound out of that mayor when they close the only hospital in the entire neighborhood. And I said, wait till you see who ends up with that property, which is now way too valuable to use as a hospital. Billy Rudin's going to end up with that property, and he did. And he is one of the mayor's best friends. Okay? How many hospitals did this mayor close? How many hospitals closed under him? Okay? Public health is what the mayor's in charge of. Public health means, like all public things, it means things we cannot do ourselves. Okay? We cannot supply a good water supply. We can't do that. One person can't do that. Even a really rich person can't do that. Even a well-intentioned person can't do that. Even someone nicer than Fran can't do that. That's public health. Make sure the water's clean. Bed bugs, that's public health. Public health. Because you can make sure you have no bedrooms in your apartment, but if your next door neighbor comes in with a suitcase full of them, you got them. That's public health. That's the mayor's job. That is the mayor's job. Bed bugs are the mayor's job. Potholes are the mayor's job. Okay? The mayor doesn't want to be the mayor. He wants to be the king. Did you ever see a picture of the mayor standing next to the president? He can't bear that. He hates the president. He would hate any president. It's not just this president he hates. He hates the fact that there's someone who has a bigger job than he does. He wanted to be the president. Finally, someone told him, I could have called him and said, you know what, Mike? Here's when a 5'2" Jewish billionaire is going to be the president of the United States. Never. He didn't know this. He didn't know this. What he said about NYU, I heard him what he said about NYU. He always acts as if everyone who doesn't agree with him is very naive. This hick. Okay? He's a hick. He doesn't belong in New York. He should go with NYU and move it somewhere else. Thank you.